And it's live, so I'm having the YouTube here just to make sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Mega Sugianto. I am one of the co-chairs for the Small Market Broadcasting. And of course, monthly we have special guests. This month, for November, we have the amazing Joe Little, who is an award-winning MMJ in San Diego. He does it all, and he does it flawlessly. Joe, you have anything to add about yourself?
No, that's it. Everyone have a good night.
See you later. That's all. What's your deal? Like, what do you do in San Diego?
I am your prototypical old MMJ. My day starts at 9:30 in the morning. With a production meeting with all the staff, the producers, the reporters, the bosses. Then I'm sent out the door, and depending on what time my deadline is, I shoot, write, edit, research, produce my story on my own, or multiple stories on my own. I'm also responsible for promoting it via social media with video, still pictures, and text. I have to write a web version, AP-style web version with still pictures as well. Today I did a package and a mini package, a web version, a web video, and 3 still pictures for my day. Yeah, and that's a pretty standard day for me in San Diego. And I try and do it all at the same time. No matter what the story is, whether it be a breaker, a enterprise story, a feature story, I try and do it pretty much. I do it the same way I do all my stories with a method I'm going to show you guys tonight.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I mean, I've talked to a lot of MMJs starting out, they're starting out kind of on Timbuktu, somewhere in Montana, or whatever it is, and they're a little bit, they're feeling like they're on a little island. So wanted to see what your tips of the trade is, especially the fact that you said everything's kind of intertwined.
Everything's intertwined, from my writing to my shooting to my editing. Everything, I have a path that I know. If you gave me any story subject right now, I would tell you in less than 3 seconds what my path would be, because I do the same thing every day. I've been doing this and perfecting this over the years, but pretty much for the better part of the past 8-9 years, I've been using this same method every day for every story. Now, some days it changes, it goes another direction, but really I have this goal in my head that, 1, make sure I always hit deadline, and 2, make sure the story is good. There's a lot of anxiety, especially young reporters and young MMJs have. It's like, okay, I just got to get the story done. They freak out. This method that I have here is the anti-freak-out method.
Anti-freak-out method. So do you want to show? I like it.
It's a new name.
I mean, I still freak out too sometimes, but yeah, I mean, you wanted to show some of your videos.
Oh. You just want to show my introductory video real quick? Just so.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, here's 30 seconds of Joe.
Okay, so let's see if this works.
Not like it.
Okay, hold up. So this one is the Joe Little 2014 stand-ups year with this one. Okay, good. Ready? Let's see if it works.
Is it working?
Can you? Okay. It should have been playing.
I have no idea if it played. I didn't see anything other than you, Mega. I didn't hear anything either.
But we played, okay, so 40 seconds of it, and if you don't see it on YouTube, I will definitely send out a link for all the videos that you show, that we're going to share. But you had used, it looks like a GoPro, you were in the storm, and there was like floods, and you were like showing people. I mean, I think what's so difficult for MMJ, sometimes we get in a rut where we have to stick in front of a camera and just talk to it. I mean, what is your way to kind of make it interesting and spice things up without kind of making yourself crazy.
I know we're supposed to be focused on MMJs, but I also do lectures about stand-ups. Obviously, that's my bread and butter is stand-ups. There's two simple things that you need to do with your stand-ups. Well, the first one I'm always going to say is if you have the ability, get rid of your stupid stick mic and use a lavalier. Okay, that's just don't even debate me on this one. I won't listen to you. I haven't used a stick mic since 2013. It's just trust me. Okay, just don't do it. Anyway, two things to remember in your stand-ups. One, try to be demonstrative or show me something. Is there something that you could point out to the viewer? Is there something that you can demonstrate to the viewer? Something you can put in your hands and show the viewer, here's the battery charger or the charger for my laptop. You know, point to it, put it in the lens, show the viewer something. Also, feel free to do this before you shoot your stand-up. What's behind me? If you're just standing in front of some nondescript building, or you're standing in front of some crazy scene where there's police activity and everything, but you're just standing there going, I'm a reporter talking to you about a line that I have no video for. You're wasting my time, you're wasting the viewer's time. Look, grab the viewer's hand and say, let me show you what's going on behind me here. There's a glass wall behind Joe, so the people outside there can see what I'm doing but really can't hear. Describe what's going on behind you, especially for breaking news. It's the easiest thing to do when you have breaking news, is recognize the fact that the viewer is going to look at you after 1.3 seconds. They're going to start looking everywhere else. Recognize the fact that, hey, right here we have the police line, we have the police tape up right here, and over there the firefighter is over there trying to put out a fire over there. We can't get any closer, but we have video to show you right now. Be demonstrative. Talk about something you could demonstrate. Have a prop, or look behind you. Those are the easiest two things you could do to make a stand-up better.
How about sequencing? I've seen some of your pieces where you're talking about something on the ground and literally putting the camera on the ground and then kind of cutting it to like the dirt or something, whatever you're referring to.
It's the same. You would sequence yourself the same way you would sequence your B-roll. You are part of the story. If you're going to sequence someone scooping out ice cream, sequence yourself as well. My story includes, I'm doing a story about why it's so expensive to replace these things. So I start with a shot of, maybe a close-up shot of me picking the battery charger up, and then cut to this shot going, well, these things are a real piece of junk. I drop it 15 times a day. You know, that's a simple sequence, like just like you would shoot your video for your story. You're part of the story if you want it to be. The other thing I always try and teach people at stand-ups is don't force yourself. People think I'm in every story. I'm not. I don't do a stand-up every story. If I have a live shot, I try and make it as active as possible. I try and recognize the fact that the people are looking behind me. But don't force it. Don't think, oh, I have to have a stand-up. You know, no. Sometimes you don't belong in the story. Don't, and a lot of people have seen my stand-ups where they see 13 Joes on the screen. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. I have a reason to do those. Don't do a stand-up because you can. Have a reason because it adds to the story.
Right. Like you said, action.
Right.
So let's go through kind of the, your daily things. I know what you do as far as, how many packages you've done, but how to get the story, when you get the story, how to shoot the story, kind of the joke way.
All of it ties together. Someone sent me a tweet asking me what's the freak out method. I'm getting to it right now. The freak out method. The freak out method is this drawing right here. It is called the pregnant eye. It's an eye that's pregnant. All right? We're all adults. We can handle pregnancy. All right? This is my day. This is how I shoot my story. This is how I write my story. This is how I edit my story. When I come out of my meeting, whatever my boss tells me my story is, whatever my pitch is, I start with this basic format. I can deviate from this, but this is a basic way to make your story, one, get it done quickly, and two, get it done in a way that's not a report, but a story. I hope we all know what the difference between a report is. A report is spewing out facts. Uh-oh, I am presenting to everyone now. All right, something just switched on my screen, and I see myself, and that's fine. Let me see
Sorry.
you. But
Go ahead. No, this is. Go
this all
ahead.
works? Okay, cool. So everyone still sees me?
Yep.
Okay, as long as everyone still sees me. All right. So the pregnant eye is what I call this. I'm going to show you a story. I'm going to have Mega. Did the video work? Can you show videos, Mega?
I don't know yet. I'm still seeing that your pregnant eye.
Okay, but you can show videos if you play on the YouTube. You play the YouTube videos?
I can do it right now. Do you want me to play them?
Play, real quick, I'm just going to describe this, what this is. Guys, what the pregnant eye is the top of the story, the middle of the story, and the end. There's a dog behind Mega. All right. The top of your story starts with a single focus, whether it is it's usually a character, a person. We're going to call the person Bob. Your story begins at that point. A is the beginning, and then you get to the meat, which is B, the meat of the story, where you throw your report in. You get the facts in the story, and then you wrap it up with C, Bob again. So Bob is your single point at the top. And this can apply to any idea out there that you have. Taxes, which is the most boring story on the planet. You have to interview the IRS or someone like that. There's a new tax code out there. And that information goes in the middle of your story, B. But to make it interesting, to make the story turn into a story, you gotta find someone who's maybe got a conflict, someone who's having trouble with their taxes. Bob. Bob is your single subject. Start with this. Bob is sitting in his kitchen, banging his head against the table. Bob, and soundbite from Bob. I'm just miserable. I can't handle it. Bob is frustrated because he's doing his taxes. But wait, there's a new thing out this year, B, to help him do his taxes a lot easier. Wrap it up with Bob at the beginning, at the end, so people like Bob are happier so they don't have to bang their head against the table. This can be applied to anything. Breaking news, it can be applied to any story out there. There are exceptions, of course, but all my stories start out this way. If I'm going to a breaker, okay, there's a big fire. A big fire. Well, that's the report. How do you turn the big fire into a story? You find the woman who's crying across the street. You find the woman who lived there, or the dude who saved the day. Bob is everywhere. Bob is shaking in his boots. Soundbite. I just witnessed the worst thing of my life. Bob was the first one in to help rescue the family of the fire. You know? Then you wrap it up at the end with Bob walking away into the sunset as the hero. Megan's going to show you a story about a water meeting. And if you've ever been to a water meeting, especially in California, they are the driest things, ironically, in the world. So, Megan, if you could play the video one, the water meeting, maybe.
Hey, dude, do you have the YouTube app open?
On my phone?
No, 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 on the Google Hangout. That's how you see it.
Oh, no, I don't have it open. I don't have it. I'm pretty sure I don't have it.
Yeah, it's on the side. It has YouTube little logo, but it should be playing. Let me play it right now. So while you do that, I'm gonna play it. I'm having trouble with the YouTube video. Ah. No, it's not playing, so I apologize. I'm playing it on the YouTube thing, but it's not playing on that. I can just pull it up here. Um, you are muted. Hold on. Let me unmute you. Okay, dude. Okay, go ahead.
Did we see any of the story? Did anyone see any of the story?
I don't. I don't think so. I'm watching this YouTube, and it doesn't look like the videos are playing on the YouTube.
Okay. Well, without the visual helps here, I will do my best to use stick puppets or my hand puppets. All right. So I did a story about a water meeting. The rates went up. I knew the rates were going to go up. How do I bring that report that into a story to make people understand? I knew in my morning meeting at 9:30, as soon as they said, Joe, you're going to be covering this water meeting. Well, I knew, one, I would go to the meeting for maybe 4 minutes. Well, Joe, you got to stay at the meeting. No, you don't. No, you don't. The story is out where the people are. I can get the results of the meeting anywhere, and I've never been to a meeting where it's actually exciting, where the public comment is so good that you need to sit there and listen to it all. Rarely is it good. Rarely is the meeting the story. The story is what they're talking about. So in this water story, I knew when I left the building, this is where we're talking about shooting your story first. I left the meeting, and I got my wallpaper video of the people talking in the meeting, and I knew I had to go out and shoot a real person. I had to go drive through a neighborhood and find someone who can talk to me about their water rates. And that's anybody in San Diego because we have no water. This could be done with any store. So I knew when I left the meeting, I needed to shoot a real person and get my wallpaper video of the meeting, and then get some water video. 3 things. That allows me to focus my attention and my energy on those 3 things. For a minute-and-a-half package, which is pretty much what we all do standard now, I knew my interview with a real person would be my primary video. I found a guy who had ripped up all of his grass and planted desert-scape plants and rocks. So he dropped his water bill to nothing. So I got video of him walking around his yard, getting nap pops of him watering, pulling his hose to water his little cactus and whatnot. Then he was adjusting some rocks. Then I interviewed him through some leaves and with all these great angles. I had enough video for 3 packages, and I was with him for less than 10 minutes. Just because I focused on this one guy, I had all this video because I knew I was going to go shoot this guy. Then I had my video for the middle of my package when I went to the meeting for like 10 minutes. I got the people talking, people chatting, the reaction shots, and then I spent like 10 more minutes getting close-ups of faucets and water. I shot my story basically in less than an hour I shot less than 20 minutes of video. Less than 20 minutes of video shot in less than an hour when you consider driving time and whatnot. I had basically 4.5 hours to shoot my stories. So I had like 3 hours extra as bonus. This works out for any story. Mega, give me any story idea. What did you do today, Mega?
What did I do today? I put together a guy's story, excuse me, about how his life is after a double lung transplant.
Double lung transplant. What was it? Was it just a feature story, or was it there's a new surgical technique out there?
Total feature story. I just find random people, and I love doing that kind of stuff and sharing what their deal is.
Okay. What was the last news story you covered? Features have a different post, but most of us don't have the chance to do features.
The news story was, my favorite one was, so Chico Junior High is getting a new science building, and I did the groundbreaking thing, but I found out that the project engineer on this particular, building or whatever they're making went to Chico Junior High. So I talked to him, and he apparently was born in a refugee camp in Thailand during the Vietnam War, and then kind of his story.
You got lucky on that story because you had a report about the new gym, learning center,
the new science building.
New science building, new science building, but then you had a character who had a personal angle to it. Uh-oh. I lost you, Mega.
Now I'm going to start a screen share. Keep on going. I can hear you.
Okay. So you had a perfect story. Now, obviously you got lucky, but if any one of us had to do that same story where there's the new school building, where we've all covered, the new city council building, the new city hall building, we've had these stories all over the place. Oh, man, I got to close some folders here. Quit that. We've all had these meeting stories or the groundbreaking. How you personalize any of those stories and shoot to focus it is that you shoot the groundbreaking, you shoot the ribbon cutting, you shoot the new building. But you need to go find one character. You don't need to go interview 20 people doing MOS. What do you think about the building? What do you think about the ribbon cutting? What do you think about? You don't need to waste your time with that because that doesn't. There's no value to the viewer hearing opinions from 20 people. Go find one person who will benefit from the building. That's the one student who's going to be learning in the building, or the one person like Mega found who built the building and it meant something to him. Finding that personal angle, one gives us a character to care about and follow as you weave through the story. It also gives us someone to relate to. Like, oh, I'm just like Bob. I went to school. I know what it's like, and wow, that'd be great.
I have your waterfront park up.
Okay. Why don't we play the water before you hit play? This story is about a waterfront park that had people were concerned about security. There seemed to be a lot of security guards walking around this water park that the county has invested a bunch of money in. I got the story, and I knew in my head what I'm going to shoot. I knew I'm going to go there. I'm going to interview the county supervisor who was behind the park. I'm going to get my B-roll of the security guards, but my character going to a park, I know I'm going to find a mom and her child. I knew as I walked out of the meeting, which is this room that I'm in now, I knew I needed to focus on finding one person, not interviewing 20,000 moms and dads and trying to put a microphone in the kid's face. One woman, one dad, just one person. I would just get one person and then interview the county supervisor. I would have a much more focused story with a character to make the report a story. Go ahead and play.
All right. Give me just 1 second. All right, you see my screen share?
I see me standing there looking at a water fountain.
All of that. Okay, I'm going to put it at full screen. I'm playing it.
I see
Guys,
your face,
we
Mega.
feel the security here at the waterfront park. They're doing more than making sure we don't block the jets. They're also keeping the riffraff out. That's something parents say is totally worth the price.
Can you hold up there? Mom, can you find?
This is Jackson Campbell's first trip to the waterfront park.
Good job, dude.
His mom Jessica says it won't be his last.
It's super safe, all the security around, it's very clean.
There is a lot of security everywhere you look. They're watching the playground and making sure no one blocks the jets on the signature fountain. Real basic rules that don't get in the way of having fun. This park is County Supervisor Ron Roberts' baby. He says they're spending more than $2 million a year to keep it safe. This woman told him it was a bit much when she first came here,
It felt a little bit weird.
but she's been here several times since. If they were overburdened with security,
Oh, gosh.
they'd be voting with their feet and they'd be out of here. There is no graffiti. There's no trash. And no one's taking a nap in the grass like at the nearby children's park downtown. That's not a park for kids in any way, shape, or form.
You having fun?
It's a simple solution for Jackson's mom.
You're bouncing?
If there wasn't any security, she probably wouldn't be here.
I would pay a ton to feel safe.
Getting in trouble for blocking the jets. I can't have you blocking the water. Joe Little, 10 News.
Okay. Am I back up?
Yeah, I think someone said that they could only see me. Oh my God. But
Okay, well, that's not my story right there.
yes,
I don't know what that is. Never pan with handheld pan. Just don't do that. Am I back up?
yes, you are back up.
Okay.
Because I put on full screen, it lost it. So apologize. So let's just do one more video, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna work. I apologize for this because
Why don't you go ahead and play the first one?
The first one, the meeting one you mentioned.
Water meeting. Play that one just so you get an example. So because I need
Okay,
something
and
to talk about.
I'm not gonna put it full screen for the sake of like when I put it on full screen, it lost it. So.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna go play it.
There's no doubt we're all enjoying the spectacular San Diego weather, but the simple reality is, guys, we need rain, and we need it now. Otherwise, we're all going to have drastic.
Okay.
There's no doubt we're all enjoying the spectacular San Diego weather, but the simple reality is, guys, we need rain, and we need it now. Otherwise, we're all going to have drastic changes that includes the way our yards look. Let me move this thing. Lee Jekyll rarely uses his hose. He doesn't like large water bills.
Moving here from back east, it was just out of sight, so we decided to do something about it.
So Jekyll ripped out his grass
Oh, yes.
and put in a drought-tolerant, certified wildlife habitat in his front yard.
It's one of my hidden bird feeders.
It cut his bill by 25%. You may want to do the same thing.
You've also got to start thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead to next year. Thursday, the San Diego County Water Authority said, we've never had so little snow in the Sierra Nevada. That's one of our sources of water.
8% of normal. I think we've got about 10 ski resorts that have already closed.
It guarantees we'll have a fourth consecutive year of drought.
It's going to come down as extremely hot.
And next month, Water Resources Manager Dana Freehoff says water deliveries to the county are expected to be cut upwards of 20%.
We'll be impacted this year. We will have less supplies.
She expects your local water district to crack down on water wasters. The only thing you can do is conserve, like Jekyll.
This is our response to it.
A response that saved him money and our county water. In Tierra Santa,
It's like putting solar panels on your house.
Joe Little, 10 News.
Okay. So we saw the. I'll wait for Mega's cue. Let me know I'm on.
Yep.
I'm
You're on.
First off, I don't know if you guys. I'm getting a bunch of tweets saying, asking me questions. I will answer them. I promise. If you guys just stick with me. But in that story, the dude was the real guy in the yard. Was my single focus, my subject. Then I had the meat of the story, which was the county water authority people talking about water rates going up, whatnot. And then I finished once again with the dude. I shot that story. There's less than 15 minutes of B-roll, of raw footage, less than 15 minutes. Shooting the story with this whole focus is very important because, especially as an MMJ, we don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. You think you're doing a lot of I do a lot of work. There are days where I've done 3 packages by myself and 3 live shots by myself, okay? It sucks. It doesn't change when you get in a bigger market. Sorry, okay? The reality is this is what we need to do. We need to move quickly, but you can move quickly and do it well. With this focus, I know I shoot character, get my B-roll of the character as they're doing their thing or in their element, get my report video. I can shoot a story that's in multiple locations in less than 2 hours. When I back time my day, which is important also, I know my deadline is usually at 5 o'clock. I know I need an hour at least to edit my story, so I back time it from 5 to 4. Then I need an hour to write it, so from 4 to 3. Then I need like 30 minutes to drive back, 2:30. So I know from the time I leave the meeting at 10 a.m. in the morning till 2:30, I've got 4.5 hours to shoot my story. That's more than enough time. I buy myself real estate by shooting quickly. Now the shooting goes directly into the writing. That's the next thing you do after you shoot. You log and you edit. You log and you write your video, your story. Same thing. With this, I already know when I left the meeting that morning what I'm going to start my story with. Some of the hardest things we do is, what's my first line? What am I going to start with? I don't know. You know! Because when you leave the meeting, you know that you're going to start with your character, you're going to end with your character, and you're going to put the guts of the story in the middle. You have the beginning, the middle, and the end already. When you left the building, you already knew how your story's going to format itself. Same thing goes with editing. When you go to edit your story, what's my first shot? Oh, establishing shot or the meeting. No, you start with your establishing shot of your character. It could be a close-up. It could be a soundbite if it's a compelling soundbite. It could be anything that has to do with your character. You let us focus in on the star of your story. Then you reveal, why are we talking to this guy? Boom. in the middle. We're talking because water rates are going up. Then you remind the viewer at the end of your story, boom, we were talking about these water rates because remember Bob? Bob, he's been working on his water bill. I do this every day. I've been doing this every day for almost a decade. It works for me. I win awards, and people say, oh, awards don't mean anything. They don't mean anything, but it's good to be recognized for the fact that for one day at one point in your life, you did something really right. And I do all the stories that are dogs and all the stories that are award winners, I use the same process. I started with this, and I may deviate from this. And I did deviate from this on this last story I want to show you, Mega. It's the Padres story. I am vehemently opposed to MOS, man on the street interviews, because I find them to be a waste of time. But when I have a huge event where the man on the street sort of is the story, like opening day at a Padres game, or a massive event where the crowds are the story, you'll see that I still started with a single character. He's going to be a Padres fan in a brown jersey. He's the only one I identified as the character. So let's go ahead and watch this, Mega.
Did you pinpoint him, talk to him first, or did you find him from the crowd and then go okay?
I pinpointed him first. I wanted to find my character first, so I knew that I guaranteed I had a character that I could have some action with, so I could have some B-roll with, and at least have him start my story and end my story.
Got it. All right, dude, I have it.
Groovy?
Ready?
Yep.
They've been waiting
Great day in San Diego.
patiently.
It's opening day for the Padres.
But this year just feels different. Robert Lucia can't wait to get in.
It was a renewed hope, and they went out and did what they were promising to do for years. Oh my God!
It's a new Padres, a new hope.
I think we're going to do great. They've been promising new players for a while.
It drew thousands of fans to Petco Park.
Half day of school, and I also
Skipping school?
yeah. I know.
Skipping school and work to get those free fedoras. And jam some Hodad's burgers. At home. Nachos, peanuts, and...
Yeah, third time's a charm.
I think it's a combination of everything.
inspiring fans to spend more.
Yeah, we got season tickets.
It's that new hope.
I think we're going to win the West. We're winning the World Series, I think.
World Series champ.
It will bring the fans.
Hey!
Cool.
There's not a lot of content there. It's a sports story. Am I back up?
Yes.
All right. There's not a lot of content there. It's a sports story. But I tried to make it exciting. Still didn't see a stick mic. I used creative camera angles. I would put a lavalier on someone, and I didn't even ask them sometimes. Say, hey, just put this on. Like the guy working at the hamburger stand. I'm like, just put this on. I'm going to videotape you. And then I throw him questions as he's flipping burgers. I was like, how is it going? It's crazy out here today. So I was able to capture those moments in a creative way and get some good natural sound and then get some good sound bites to splice up my story. But I still stayed true to this pregnant eye. I went to Petco Park, looked for my one subject. Look for a guy standing in line who was optimistic. We are all let down this year, by the way. But then I finished with him getting into the game. In the middle, there's all the excitement. That was the report. The excitement of the day was the report. But I still had that one character that I started with that, like, oh, yeah, I stood in line for baseball games. Oh, yeah, I'm excited, too. You sort of built a relationship with that one guy, and then you see him get into the game at the end. Woo! It works for everything. It works for everything. I do it every single day. As you get more advanced in your reporting careers, you can start doing things that Boyd Hubert will preach, and the day that I ever do anything of his quality will be a day that I drop the microphone or the lavalier and walk out, because he's doing things that are beyond all recognition. What I just taught you guys today is even if you're working as an MMJ or a traditional reporter or with a 13-person crew, it still applies. We are all under deadline. So if you have a photog or you're going to have a photog one day, this simple method of getting a story, whatever the story is, and finding a central character and a central theme to focus on allows you to do a better story faster. Savvy? I have some questions, Megan, on Twitter from, I think.
Yeah, some people are asking, you already answered the anti-freakout method, but then how do you focus yourself? My camera doesn't have autofocus?
First off, it's great that your camera doesn't have autofocus, because autofocus, auto anything is the devil. Is the devil. If you are an automatic anything, quit. No, don't quit. Learn your camera. Take your camera home. Ask your boss if you can take the camera home and goof around with it. Learn how to use your camera. Simple things. You guys remember the stand-up at the beginning of the water story where you saw...
Oh, let's show that. I know we're going a little longer, but nobody saw the first video.
No, you showed it back. You played it back. I was standing. You played it again.
Oh, we did? Okay.
I'm news reporter Joe Little, the South.
Got it.
Oh, don't show the stand-ups. That's too much. But basically, what I look for on my stand-up, when I do a stand-up, I look for a point of reference, whether it be me putting my keys on. If I'll go and frame myself up in front of, because we all have those flip lenses now, right? If you don't have a flip lens for your camera, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But if you don't have if you have a flip lens or not, I will go and I'll take, whether it be a light stand, or if I know that I'm going to be standing near this chair right here, I'll know that, okay, this is my reference point, or I'll know that there's a certain branch I'll be standing next to in a wooded area. I'll maybe take a branch and sort of bend it down so I can mark it. Like, okay, that's my spot. Or I'll drop my keys or my phone on the ground. I'll go back to my camera. I will zoom in on the spot. I'll zoom in on... There's someone coming in your door. I hope they're not breaking in. I'll zoom in on the chair here. There's someone. Hey, hi, friend. With the dog. I'll zoom in, focus this. I'll zoom back out so that I know that I'm in focus every time. I know that if I stand next to this point, I will be in focus. If I focus on my keys on the ground, or if I focus on the branch and then zoom out, that whole plane, as long as I stand in that same plane, I will be in focus. My stand-ups these days are pretty intricate. I'm trying to put my camera farther away from me, 20, 30 feet away from me, and then making sure that I have a lot of depth behind me, so that when I do zoom in and focus on myself, everything else around me, if it's not important, especially if I'm trying to do something demonstrative with my hands and I want them to focus on me, everything else behind me is out of focus. So taking my camera out of autofocus and putting in manual is very important for me. So it's literally just finding a mark and standing on your mark. If you've got the time and the equipment, a simple light stand that you set up and extend to your height, you put it where you want to stand. Then you just go back and you can actually see how tall you are and everything. I mean, I don't have one. I just don't have one. But I've seen Michelle Michael, who's another MMJ, great MMJ. She does it. She has a light stand that's her height, and she just puts it out where she wants to stand. She focuses on the light stand. Then she can frame literally herself up because she has a light stand her height. Amazing. Simple. What was one of the other questions?
That's I think that's very important. I mean, it's very tough. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the autofocus. I mean, you might have more questions than I do, but a lot of people. What about if you're doing a live shot, since you do it yourself? Let's say you have to stand somewhere relatively where you're not comfortable, whether it's a bad neighborhood or a.
Well, first off, if there's safety's ever an issue, I have great bosses here at 10 News, and I'll tell them, I don't feel safe here. I'm not going live here. I'll shoot a look live right now, or I'll shoot a stand-up, but I'm not going live here. Not by yourself. And if there's a two-man crew, it's a little bit safer. Got someone's back, but we won't. If there's a dangerous neighborhood, we are not going to put people in harm's way. If you're an MMJ and you ever feel like you're in danger, you got to call your boss and say, I don't feel good. I don't feel comfortable. If there's an issue beyond that, that's an HR thing. But you guys, us, like the MMJ Thug Life, hashtag MMJ Thug Life, we're tough, we're strong, but we're not stupid. We don't do stupid things. So don't go to a place by yourself. Don't knock on a door by yourself if that person's a serial rapist, allegedly. What do you do on days when sources take too long to call back? I cuss a lot. And I bang my head against the table because it happens to all of us. There are days where I will call. Well, first off, I don't wait. I try not to rely on one person. If it's a thing where I need a professor, call me back, call me back, call me back, call me back. I'll call another professor. Call me back, call me back, call me back. I'll try another professor. More often than not, if I'm trying to get someone to speak to me about a certain thing, I get 14 phone calls back in an hour, but at least all I need is one. If it's that one source, if it's the one person, you can only talk to one person, they don't call you back, you don't have a story with that person. You have to think outside the box. Okay, so I really need to talk to this one person about this one thing that they've done. Okay. It's sort of hard for me to focus because I don't know, I need an example, but if the one person won't talk to me, okay, who can I talk to in the meantime so I'm not wasting my time about the situation? I need to talk to the inventor of the widget. Okay, well, who uses the widget? Who does the widget benefit? Who funded the widget? Who does the widget compete with? Think outside the box, because your bosses don't really care. They want you to do the story. Go do the story. Go do a story about the widgets. Okay, well, the widget maker was not talking to me. So you got to think outside the box. So, because my last news director always said, news doesn't happen in the newsroom. You got to get out. Get out. All you're doing is wasting time watching the clock. It happens to the best of us. We have days where it's like, this is not going to work. I'm now going to put this in my eyeball repeatedly. It happens all the time. But just do your best to think outside the box. What's plan B? You have to have a plan B. And C, and some days D, E, F, Z. Okay? Anything else?
Thanks, Joe.
Van's on fire here. Oh,
I know. Oh, she was a former co-chair. She's amazing. But I want to wrap it up. Don't go yet, but I want to just say thank you. Oh, yeah, no. This is amazing because a lot of us, as an MMJ, we're, like I said, we feel like sometimes we're alone. So having you as someone to look up to is kind of like a breath of fresh air, a little bit of hope because, I mean, not staying in the meeting for the entire thing, it's a big difference, But appreciate it. I will use the freak out method. Hopefully other people will. So
we call it the pregnant eye.
The pregnant eye? But
pregnant eye is the anti-freak out method.
Anti-freak out. Sorry.
Yes. We don't freak out as MMJs.
No,
we have gang signs. MMJ Thug Life.
Listen to the hashtag Report Life. But thank you so much. We're going to stop the broadcast. Guys, thank you for watching. And for those of you who replay, the videos do play out. But then December, there's more stuff coming along. We're working on more stuff. So thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.